Good morning to everybody. I know Tanya's going to be right back. She's just getting a few things situated on her end, and then we will get started here in just a moment.
Okay, good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Association for Women Communication, the South Florida chapter. And we are today our usual 10 a.m. Monday morning, Empower Yourself Monday. And I'm here with my two board of director, Emily Taffel and Terry Michaels. Hi, ladies. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Tanya.
Good morning, Very good. Thank you, Tanya.
Yeah, I had set up everything, and then when I logged on, the link didn't work. It worked, but didn't have the recording. So it's really important that we record everything. So because even though we might not have a lot of listeners now, there'll be a lot of listeners coming up. They'll joining in later. So our special guest and our communicator of the week that we're featuring is Debbie Elicksen. And Debbie Elicksen is actually one of my old co-hosts, and we have stayed in touch all this time. It's almost like a reunion for us. But Debbie Elicksen is also a publicist, storyteller, author. She's a publisher. She's a web host. I think she has 2 shows now. And she's actually the ex-NHL reporter and brand ambassador for Stage 32. And I'd love to get to know her more about that part, what she does with them. But again, thank you so much, Debbie, for being here. Welcome to the Association for Women in Communication, South Florida chapter, our Empower Yourself Monday. This is our episode 5.
That's a mouthful, Tanya.
I know, I feel like it was a mouthful.
Yes, it's a reunion for sure. It's nice to meet your other co-host. Hey, I got to warn them, but though last time this happened, I ended up staying.
Come on in, Debbie. It's nice. It's so nice to meet you.
Social chats.
Debbie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about social chats in the early days of social chats, because Emily and I have known each other for a long time. So Debbie, go ahead and tell us about yourself and some of the things you're working on.
Okay. Well, I've been thinking about this question a lot because I'm dabbling with the idea of writing, I guess it would be my 18th book, because I'm working on the 17th one right now. How I would describe it is I kind of clawed and scratched myself to where I am now. When I was young, I decided I wanted to work in professional hockey. I wanted to work in the NHL, but girls weren't allowed in sports in those days, at least pro leagues. And you didn't see even women media, or you don't see the plethora of women you see now in sports. And back then it was just, all it was white men. But I was bound and determined I wanted to work in the National Hockey League. So when I became an adult, I kind of found my way in by interning with probably the biggest guy in hockey, the hockey maven Stan Fischler. So from there, it opened a lot of doors for me. And so I spent over 20 years in the NHL as a freelance reporter. And that also blossomed into a few other things. I ended up working in football. So I'm the first woman to headman a football conference in Canada. And I don't know if there's been anyone behind me. My friend and colleague Colleen Conley came behind me, but since then I don't think there's been any women in that position. But and as a writer, I just clawed and scratched my way into getting paid to write as well. So I've had a career in writing going back to the 80s, actually probably when I started in the NHL. And yeah, I've never looked back, and I've been writing. I've been kind of semi-retired for a bit, and then, kind of kicking things off again. I've got my webcast Locker Room for Growth, which has been fun. Tanya has been one of my guests, and it's to inspire others. It's bringing really interesting people with compelling stories and who are doing some interesting things to inspire others. So that's, and public relations as well. So I'm a publicist as well. So anyway, that's me in a nutshell, I guess, a long nutshell.
Well, Debbie, you've done a lot. I mean, like your history and everything. So I'm gonna let Emily take care, ask the first couple of questions because I think because I know a lot about you already. So I'm actually gonna log in to my other account too. So hi, Bob.
Yeah. So Debbie, I mean, I find everything that you're doing so fascinating. As a publicist myself, I know how intense that alone can be on top of everything else that you do. And it's pretty incredible. So I guess one of the first things that I'm always curious about, especially when you hear a woman who is in a pretty male dominated industry or has worked in a male dominated industry, what were some of the challenges that you faced in that situation, and like how did you break in? What was your start working just in the sporting industry in general, and then also just in media overall? How did that get started, and what was that like as a woman in a male dominated field? Oh, it's
Well,
early.
thank you. Well, I was very lucky at that time, and well, yes, in Edmonton, I was the only woman in the press box at the time. It was not easy to get that pass because the PR guy at the time was a little reluctant to give it to me, so he kind of gave it to me on a temporary basis and to test me out, so to speak. And I immediately kicked it off with all my colleagues. I mean, we had, we've made lifelong friends with some of them. The people who seem to be the toughest nut to break are the beat guys, the ones that travel with the team. Sometimes they're a little reluctant to accept you because, they don't know if you're going to stick around, and, it's but it wasn't too bad in the NHL in that respect. The players tested me on day one, and when I passed their test, I guess they they left me alone after that. Like, they didn't challenge me after that, and how they challenged me, I won't get into. They were basically parading around me, just kind of trying to intimidate me, and I just put my bored look on, and that, like, you've seen one, you've seen them all. What the fuck? I don't give a shit. Just move on. I'm just here to do my job. So because I passed that test, they they didn't bother after a while. So they were just, the players have all most been pretty good. It's interesting because from that perspective, it's been all right. There's been where I've had some PR people that had interrupted interviews. I'd have a really good interview with players and they'd interrupt them. But most of the people I worked with in sports were pretty good. In football, it was funny because I was the only woman. And I remember going to my first league meeting. And at that time, our league had about 24 teams or something like that. And I was there representing my team in Calgary. And one of the first things I tried to put on the table was on-field communications. Of course, that shocked the hell out of everybody because I used to travel with the team, and so I got half of what I wanted out of that. So that kind of broke the ice in that meeting. But where I faced most of the discrimination was really in just regular, in advertising jobs and other jobs. In fact, I couldn't even get a job in advertising. That's where I knew that I could really, it would help me get in the door of pro sports if I got a job in advertising, but I couldn't get a job in advertising. Back in the 80s, they didn't hire women. And it was really frustrating. And I did find some jobs here and there, like I say, clawed and scratched my way. And some of those jobs, you know how you work and you sell a whole bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden the owner says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, that's a house account," which is code for you're not getting paid for it, but thanks for bringing it in anyway.
Yep.
So that's the kind of shit that I used to encounter.
And then when you decided to write books, was that like, where did your transition then come in there? Because 16 books is impressive, Debbie. Like, that's a lot of books. How did that get started?
Well, my first book was Inside the NHL Dream. And that book, oh God, it took me a while to figure out what my angle was. I didn't just want to write a book about the NHL. I wanted to write a book that nobody else had ever written. I wanted it to be a different angle. I didn't want game clip mode. I didn't give a shit about the measurements on the live stick and all that stuff. I wanted something different. And I happened to be on the phone with one of my friends. We were talking for like an hour, and all of a sudden, that's it. It just all of a sudden came. It had nothing to do with our conversation. It just came to my brain. So I had to hang up and write it down. So I took a behind the scenes look and basically took the magnifying glass and looked into from my world and what I saw and what the players saw from their world and everybody else from what they saw. So I interviewed PR directors and equipment managers and a lot of people, and got their perspective from behind the scenes to show people what it's really like to work there and what goes on behind it. It isn't just the 3 hours you see on the ice. There's a lot that goes into it, as with any industry. But so that's where it started. And I thought it can't look like a self-published book. And I tried to get the NHL involved. I called their PR department and tried to see if they would endorse it. um, well, if you've read anything about the NHL lately, their feelings about just about everything. So they said no, not unless they want to have total control over it from the start, right? So they basically dictate what you write about. And then, that wasn't going to happen because I had my own vision. So then I still have the email. They sent me, okay, well, just write at your own risk, they said. Like, oh God. So I had to, so right then I thought, well, I better go see a lawyer. So I had the lawyer look over the book and make sure I didn't write anything that. So I spent a lot of money on it. Spent a lot of money on printing. I hired a graphic designer that I was working with at a creative agency, and it really turned out well, and it was so well received. And I did across the country media tour on it, and yeah, I was really happy with it, and that pretty much launched everything. And actually, the weird thing is it launched another career too, because after writing that book, everybody started asking me about writing books. So I ended up working in publishing.
Which that in itself, like, not to make anything about my book, because but in 2020, I decided, okay, we're here in the pandemic. I'm going to write a book. I wrote a children's book, and I started Googling information about publishing and just self-publishing. And there are thousands upon thousands of sites, and all of them have conflicting information, and everybody has a different way that they tell you is the best way to do it. And it gets really confusing. And I stumbled upon an amazing mentor in a Facebook group who she answered a ton of questions for me and was able to really help me through the process, because I was definitely like in the hole, the rabbit hole of just too much information. And she walked me through it, and I was able to self-publish my book and get it out there. but it's a beast in publishing. And I think it's really impressive to see that, not only are you publishing your books, but that you're able to help others and mentor others and empower them to publish their books, because it's not easy. And so I wanted to see, what are some tips if there's some people out there who are looking to everybody I feel like has a story to tell, and everybody thinks in their head, I should write a book about this. So on the publishing side of things, how does somebody get into that?
Well, the first thing you have to know, and I'm sure you know this too, is nobody gives a rat's behind about your book.
Yep.
They only care what's in it for me. Why should I be interested and why should I read it? And that is the biggest mistake every author makes. They think it's about them and their book. Nobody cares. They don't care. That's why I spent so long on the message. It's about the message of your book. What are you writing about? So you've got a children's story. So you talk about the story. Nobody cares about the book. They want to know what the story, what makes your story so interesting and compelling. So that's what you sell. But there is a lot that goes into it. And to make it professional, you need an ISBN number. You need, if you're going to get hard copy books to sell, or like not hard copy, but just physical copy books, I meant, to sell, you need a barcode. So there's a lot of stuff, you're right, it goes into it. And there is information out there. And of course, I've wrote 3 books on book publishing. So, and the funny thing is my first book on book publishing was through a traditional publisher. That's a pretty good coup, eh? So, but I can tell you one thing for sure. Don't waste your time with the traditional publisher unless you are selling so many self-published books that you cannot handle the distribution anymore. That's probably when to go to a trad, because you're not going to make any money. Well, you don't make much money publishing as it is, right? And you're not going to quit your day job. And basically what it does is it gives you a little cred. It gives you a little street cred. But you're not going to quit your day job, because you're not going to make, you're not going to earn a living at it. I'm sorry to say, unless you're really, really good at sales. And, unless you're selling $1,000 books a month, which is most authors sell a couple hundred of their titles. And that's usually the average. And if you can sell, you know how much it costs to make, and you know how much you're selling it for, so do the math. But if you get a traditional publisher, yeah, they might give you an advance up front, but that will probably be the only money that you ever see. So traditional publisher does not sell your book. You still have to sell it. You still have to do the media tours, a lot of times on your dime. And you get maybe 5% royalty from it. So you've done all the work on the book. They've paid for the publishing and the printing and that, but it's not even guaranteed it's going to get into a bookstore. I talked to one of my NHL media friends, and he's like one of the biggest writers in the NHL. He has had a publisher, and his book wasn't even in the bookstore. So you don't know what's going to happen. But there's so many tools today available. Love them or hate them, Amazon makes it so easy to publish. You don't have to spend a dime to publish on Amazon. They've got the templates. They give you the barcode. You can have it in print or just on Kindle. And if you have it on Kindle, you can still download it. Find a converter to download the Kindle book as EPUB, so you can sell it off your own website as well. Because KDP, and that's the other thing that I watch for, is for some of these print-on-demand companies, they lock you in. They hold your files hostage. So you have to pay them an extra, $800 or whatever to get your files that you paid for in the first place. So they don't give you a download copy of your files, whereas KDP does it immediately. I mean, you actually download the software onto your laptop to create the files for KDP and then upload them. So you actually have the original copies. And so with these print-on-demand companies, that doesn't happen a lot of times. And anyway, it's so easy to do through Amazon. It's kind of hard. I know that the quality. I'm afraid to get the print book copies of my book because the work that I used to do on my client books. I'm a little anal when it comes to the the physical book. So I'm kind of afraid to see what they look like, but hey, I mean, it puts it out there. So, but it is about the story. It's about that, and make it easy for your reader to read the book. So make sure it's edited well. If you're not a writer, find somebody that can help you edit it, and you get what you pay for.
That is for sure in all things, right? No, thank you for all of that, though. I mean, and a lot of what you speak is so true. No matter what, whether you self-publish or you go with a publisher, you are selling your own book. I mean, in general, you're doing your own PR overall, and you should always be doing your own PR overall, whether you're working with a publicist, a publisher, and anything, because you should just have your elevator pitch ready to go and be speaking about yourself whenever possible. Hence an Empower Yourself Monday opportunity like this. I also saw that you're doing some workshops, it looks like, or something I saw on your Twitter about turning books into scripts. Is that something that you're looking to do with some of your books or any of your writing, or something that you look to mentor people on?
I am not a script writer. Let's just get that straight right now. I am dabbling in it. I'm trying to learn how to script write. And I just find it such an interesting, interesting transition. Now, I'm a nonfiction writer mostly. So to put my brain in fiction and to write from, from the camera's point of view is a tough transition for me. I'm trying to practice my brain to do this. So it is something that I'm working on, but gosh, I am not in a position to train anybody on that. But that's why I'm this member of Stage 32. And I've been a member of Stage 32 for a long time. In fact, way back when we started Virtual Newsmakers webcast, one of our first guests was Richard Botto, who is the founder and CEO of Stage 32. And I've been a member since then. And he is so freaking incredible at empowering and it, just has so many great nuggets he shares. So I encourage you to follow his Twitter account. It's RB Walks Into a Bar. It's his Twitter account. And so it's just, I've been a brand ambassador, I think, for Stage 32 since I joined. And because I've always been sharing some of the goodness that comes out of that community. And it's a social community for creatives. So if you're interested in the film and theater industry, and a lot of people I know are in that industry, and the film and theater industry, or you want to, work a camera in the industry, every job, whether you're a makeup artist, Tanya, or anybody that is a creative or works with creatives, that's the place you go to network with the creative industry. So there's everyone from A-listers to people just wanting to figure out how to get into the industry. And they have partnered with Netflix. They are putting on webinars co-sponsored by Netflix, and you get so much great information. And those webinars, you just have to join as a member. It's free, and those webinars are free with Netflix, and they're like 3 hours long, and you get so much information about how to pitch to Netflix, how to craft a story, all sorts of nuggets. So even how to write a film to budget. So that's why I'm a stage ambassador and a Stage 32 ambassador. And of course, then I'd say a few months ago, they actually asked me to be an ambassador officially. So I thought I was already doing it. So basically, I haven't done anything different, maybe added a few more tweets, but that's where that comes from. So from the script side of it, it is fascinating to see people writing their scripts, and there is a real need for content now too. So if you can figure out how to adapt your book into a script, like your children's story would make a good short probably. So anyway, that's that. That's the story behind that.
Oh, I didn't know about that, Debbie. I didn't know about that, but that's what the you working with them, Stage 32. I didn't even realize what that was until I was researching it. And yeah, I remember you talking about that guy too. Because Debbie and I used to do a Spreecast. Oh my God, Debbie, we're aging ourselves. We've done so much. So I want to say hi to Michelle. Emily, look down. Michelle's here.
Yes,
So
I saw that she
Boca,
popped
yay!
in. Yes, I was
So
excited.
happy. So she's here. Oh, she left.
No, I was so happy to see Michelle was in there. I saw Leah, she popped in for a few minutes in there, so it's been nice to see some friendly faces, and some of our AWC peeps coming in.
Yeah, we're gonna we're doing Twitter Spaces because it's more of a global thing, but I'd like us to try to get some more of our ladies in South Florida to come on here to do the Empower Yourself Monday with us. So that's something we'll work on. But I'm just thrilled to have Debbie here, who is from Canada and it's freezing and snowing. And then we've been trying to get her to come down to South Florida for, it seems like forever. Like I remember when you were ready to come
I
down
was
here.
going to come right before the stuff at the fan here in 2020. I was literally going to book my ticket to Florida when, all that shit happened.
Terry, did you want to share?
Well, I have a quick question regarding audio for our co-host regarding your books. Are you doing any audiobooks?
Oh, I thought about it, but no, I haven't done it yet. So what I have done is I've taken a few snippets and readings and threw a few of those up on YouTube over the years. But no, I haven't, but that's a good question. I have.
Yeah, and also would Stage 32, can they help somebody if you wanted to do audio on your books?
Absolutely. That's where you can collaborate and find people to work with on there. So there are people like you and me on there basically looking for people to help them. Like if you're creating, if you need somebody behind the scenes to do your camera work, that's where you find them.
Yeah.
If you need somebody to do your hair and makeup, that's where you would find them.
Wow.
If you need somebody to co-host, that's where you would find them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good place to find people to help you create your creations.
That's awesome. I have a dear friend who just wrote a book about caregiving. It's called I'll Be Right There. And she's considering having me do her audio. And I don't know where to start. So anyway, That was my question. Maybe I'll start there and see what I can find.
Yeah, basically, if you're doing audio right now, right? So
Not yet. I mean, I'm just like,
no, I meant you're doing it right now.
oh, okay. You're right. I
This
am.
is social audio.
I think really, if you had a studio, like I have a friend, a media friend, he's got his own studio in his house. So, and he worked in radio, and he's got the perfect radio voice. He covers chuck wagon
Wow.
races. Like he's known for chuck wagon races and rodeo. And but basically, if you have a good sound, like it's better if you can have yourself in an enclosed sound room.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, to do it. But I mean, from my perspective, the way things are, I mean, there's nothing stopping you from just getting a mic and plugging it into the computer and just doing it. And then you just use the editing tools to to clean it up a bit. I can tell you that I have discovered through Brian Kramer, I have discovered this app that changed my life. I'm telling you, if you do audio or video editing, you're never going to go to another program.
Wow.
It's Descript.
How do you spell it?
Descript. You can do it by the year or do it by the month. Oh my freaking God. It literally gives you your life back, because all the time it used to, well, mind you, I'm a Luddite when it comes to video editing, but it literally makes it so easy. You just cut and paste.
Wow.
That's all you do is it's really good if you do a lot of editing audio or video. So
wow, that's good to know. Thank you so much. I just need to be pointed in the right direction, and I just am not sure where to go, but that's why I ask questions when I think someone might know.
Well, I don't know everything. I know Tanya knows a lot.
Yes, she does. She does.
I have a microphone for you, but your best bet is to record yourself in your closet with all the clothes around you, because it will pad the noise.
Okay.
I mean, everybody does it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
See, that's what I learned today, Tanya. I didn't realize that. That's great. I'm going to try that.
A little cheaper than renting a sound studio.
I was trying to tell Terry this. Terry's like, do you know where I can go do my podcast, do an audio recording? And I'm like, do it in your closet. But there is one in Boca Raton that is a podcast studio that I'm going to take a tour at and check it out. Emily, we should take a look at it too. Terry, we can go look at it.
You. Yeah,
we're gonna look at it. So I want to go ahead and reset the space a little bit. I want to say hi to our good friend, Dr. J, who will be our guest, our communicator of the week of the 21st of February. And I want to say hi to my good friend Brent, who is also here from Canada. He is a multimedia journalist, and he works with CBC. And then we have Michelle Soboka here also, who is an incredible communicator, but has an incredible brand in real estate in South Florida. And my good friend Bob, who's from the UK, that I asked him, we're going to be hosting an event, a Twitter Space event for Chris Hera and Christy Wells to talk about the Web3 Unconference. It's going to be February 15 at 6 p.m. on Twitter Spaces. So I'm going to set up a Zoom, and Bob said he'd be happy to help me manage it, because he's pretty good. He's really good at doing this type of a hybrid where we do. So we'll all be in Zoom if we wanted to, so we can see each other, but we'll keep the audio down and we'll be able to hear each other either way. So we just got to mute the Zoom microphone. So I think that would be more interaction, and we might start doing that again, because it's for Zoom. I feel like some people are used to Zoom more than they are Twitter Spaces. But then, I figure, if we can serve it up in any way, where we get people more participation and more people to get involved, I think that's the key. So, and today I'm just thrilled that Debbie's here. You don't understand. Debbie and I She's like my sister from another mother.
Tanya,
I
yeah,
swear.
Tanya's my sister. She's my blood sister.
And we talk about all kind of stuff, and especially digital marketing. I mean, like Emily is a digital marketer herself. She had her own agency, Moxie PR, but she also does a lot of content creation. So Debbie, tell us a little bit about how that has changed compared to, let's say, back in 2012 when we were doing our social chats on Spreecast. What are your thoughts on that? Especially
Well,
now
I had
going into Web3. Like we're going to Web3. I mean, back then we were going into Web2, but now
yeah,
Web3.
I had a good wake up call on that when I was reunited with my storage unit after 10 years. Because the last time I seen it was probably 2012 when I threw everything in it and went down to Phoenix for a bit. And so I'm looking at all these boxes, and literally I could get rid of a whole bunch of it because it was backup physical files that I already have on my computer. So I realized that, I don't really need these anymore. And I'm looking at the backup stuff that I have in there, and there's CDs. I don't have, I was had already put the floppy stuff onto the CDs, so I didn't go back that far. But they were all CDs, and I looked at them and thought, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with these? Because I've got nothing, no device that's going to take transfer them. So, but my friend Arnie, my media friend I was just telling you about, he kept all that old equipment. So if you even need a floppy disk transferred, he's got that in. He was smart enough to keep all that. But so I got all these CDs of backup files of book projects and whatnot, and I don't know what to do with them. And then all my NHL interviews were on those little micro cassette tapes. And I thought, oh Jesus, what am I going to do with those? And you have no idea how many of those I had. So I thought about asking Arnie to transfer them to digital, and then I thought, you know what, screw it. I threw them all in the garbage. But yeah, it's so different. I mean, even when you look at our webcasting, we've got Spaces today, which is kind of cool. It reminds me a lot of social chats. Social chats, when we started with Spreecast, and Spreecast had its issues with when it crashed that time and lost all of our stuff. But the
That
program,
was like heartbroken.
oh,
There's
terrible.
incredible shows that we lost, and I think that's where Spreecast lost a lot of trust from the
Yeah.
community.
But it was such a great setup. And I have to say, and then Blab came along. Blab was really unstable. I crashed all the time in Blab because I don't think it was set up for Android, but it was also like Spreecast in that it was social while you, how do you explain it, Tanya? It was very social while you were broadcasting. So you could bring people on and off. You could,
There's
pump
an
out to
app.
social
There was an
media.
app. They had an
Yeah.
app then. Back then it was like incredible.
And then Google Plus was okay. I mean, you could bring a lot more people on with Google Plus. And the thing I loved about Google Plus is that it was married to YouTube. So when you broadcast live on Google Plus, it was live on YouTube. And then YouTube stopped that, which pissed me off. That literally ruined our lives on webcasting is when YouTube stopped doing the live stream connected with Google Plus. And since then, it's been kind of this zombie land of webcasting where you're trying to find the best app. And I don't know, like StreamYard is good. I like StreamYard. It's simple and easy. And I mean, like for a technical Luddite like me, I mean, I'm not fluent in techie, but I'm certainly not, I'm not a novice, but StreamYard is easy to work on the back end, but you got to pay for it. I mean, there's a free version with the little, you get the logo on there, but most of these webcasting platforms you got to pay for, right? Everything seems to nickel and dime you now, whereas it didn't in the past. But I don't know. It still feels kind of like a zombie land because I mean, StreamYard could go away tomorrow, and then what the hell do you do now, right? So you can't. And YouTube has changed so many times on how to live stream. So I found that I think back in 2016, because I only had a Chromebook, I didn't have a laptop. I couldn't live stream on YouTube because you had to download the app, and you can't download apps on a Chromebook. So yeah, it's been like a zombie land since Spreecast and Blab, I'd say. What do you think, Tanya?
Yeah, I agree with you a little bit about that because I think the community we built on Spreecast was so incredible. I think, and also because of the founder, Jeff Farrell, he would like Jeff Fleur. Yeah, Jeff Fleur. I always pronounce his name wrong, last name, but he would pop in, he'd help anytime we needed somebody. Boom, they were there. Remember, Debbie? Like anytime we had issues, woof, the whole team.
Our community is still here. We are still literally best friends with everybody we broadcast with back in those days. I had Christmas dinner with Asia in Sweden. It was breakfast for me, but it was dinner for her. We did it I did it via tablet, right? And I met her in the chat on Spreecast. She was in everybody's Spreecast, and not necessarily on camera, but just in the chat and supporting everybody. So Mitch Jackson, everybody, all these people who had these shows at that time, and we all kind of went on each other's shows. And yeah, this community has been around for a long time, and so now we're all really good friends. And yeah, that's
But
the
then
part I love.
now I feel that because of a lot of different platforms have changed and people leaving. I mean, I never thought that Facebook would not be a thing anymore, but it is now. A lot of people are going towards social audio and spending more time on social audio because they're connecting more. And I noticed that you're doing videos more than social audio. Tell us about that, because I don't really see you. I see you as co-host in like Tanya McKenzie's spaces and stuff, but I don't see you as having your own space. But you do a webcast, like you do a whole video. And so while everyone's turning to social audio, you're still running toward video webcasting. Tell us about what are your thoughts on that?
It's my comfort zone, I guess. I don't know. It's just although I take that video, thank you to Script, and I take that video once the MP4 is available on YouTube, I download it and edit it into a podcast, and then I take little snippets of it and throw it on Instagram and whatnot. But I still find the video comforting, although I'm very grateful for the space this morning, because then I didn't because in Canada it's like 8 a.m, and I would had to get up at 6 o'clock to have a shower, and I just didn't want to do that. So so I'm not dressed and you can't tell, but if it was a Zoom call, believe me, I would have been up at if I had to be up at 5:30 to shower and be presentable, I would have.
Well, nowadays we have filters on our Zoom call now. We don't have to worry about makeup.
No, that ain't happening, Tanya. But it's, I don't know, it's just my comfort zone, and I find that also the people that I've had as guests, they seem to be more, a lot of them are more, I think they're more comfortable with the Zoom, as well as, of course, I never asked them about the space. Plus, also, I think it's the recording aspect as well, because I know what I'm doing more as far as recording it and whatnot. So maybe I don't quite know what I'm doing yet in Twitter Spaces.
You do. No, I think what it is our brain, because we're so used to doing, because women tend to we do multitasking. We're the queens of multitasking. But like this morning, I mean, when I logged on, the recording feature wasn't on, so I had to like delete. But then I had to go back into the Twitter ad and change all the links real quick before we go live. So I mean, those are the kind of stuff we deal with. But it's fun though. I think it keeps us on our toes. But does anyone? It's 10:47. I want to make sure we are mindful about the time. Dr. J, did you want to have any questions you'd like to share with us? And Brent or Bob, do you want to grab the mic? You're welcome to. I wanted, again, I really appreciate you for being here, Debbie, and it's just so nice to hear your voice every time I hear your voice.
It's so nice to meet your co-host too. Yeah, this is fun. I miss doing this with you every week.
Yeah, our show is every Friday at 1 p.m.
And you should join us on Mondays, Debbie. We're here every Monday at 10 a.m. and you should pop in and come join us.
Thank you.
Debbie is very she's busy doing she's on a lot. She's busy doing her books and all kind of stuff. And I want to know more about the your brand ambassador. I want to see how much does it cost to join them?
Nothing.
Nothing? Oh wow.
It's free. Yeah, it's free. Stage32.com. It's free to join, and you are networking. It's like any other network. The more active you are, the more you get seen. And there's like lounges where you can participate in, and you can start a conversation or participate in conversations. And you just learn so much about the creative side of the industry. And yeah, it's free. Some of the webinars are paid webinars, but a lot of them are free. You get a lot of great content, great networking, and it is literally spam free. Anytime there's a troll on there, they're like vaporized within it seems like within 10 minutes. So the community managers for Stage 32, I guess I'm a community manager as well, but the people that actually do the technical community managed side, they are on the ball. So if there's a troll or any kind of spammer on there, they get vaporized literally immediately. So it's really quite unique.
So it's about 10 minutes left on the space. I wanted to ask you, what's next?
I wish I knew. I don't know. I just I'm writing more. I really have to write the one thing I'm most afraid of to write. So I know that everybody I've talked to at Stage 32 and everywhere says do it, do it, do it. So I'm just trying to find the courage to actually do it. So that's next, I guess.
That's great. And you sit in Tanya McKenzie's space every Friday, right? Or when you
Oh yeah, the PR lunch hour. It is, if you are in publicity or PR, that is the place to be on Friday. It so many great nuggets. I could only listen this last Friday. I was on my way to my storage unit because I was selling a couple of collectibles, and but yeah, it's an hour on Friday mornings, and we talk about wins. It's like, if you're in you work in PR, you're working on your computer, you're behind your desk all day, and if you do media relations at all, you know how much work goes into the back end of it, and a lot of your clients don't even understand what you do. They just think these stories appear everywhere. And so when this space was created to kind of be a sounding board for anybody that works in that industry, and also you get to share your wins and hear other people's wins. You get to hear what they did right and hear some of the things that went wrong, and then we talk about the fails, some of the PR fails, and there's no end, there's no limit to how many of those are around. But so we'll talk about some of those trending stories of the week. And yeah, it's a lot of fun actually. And you meet some really, really nice people. I mean, some of those, speaking of community, Tanya, that group, we're becoming so tight knit and close, just like we did back in the Spreecast days. You know, and I interviewed Tawny for my webcast, and she interviewed me for hers, and they are just amazing, amazing people.
Yeah, actually, she's gonna be one of our guests. One of our communicator of the week. I have to schedule it with her, and I guess she's an incredible space host and communication, and she does a lot too. So yeah, I'm so excited to speak with Tanya, and then also next week we're gonna have next Empower Yourself Monday will be Christy Wells. She is oh my God, I'm so glad I got her to do this with us. She and her husband, Chris here, they are the co-founders of Social Media Club, South Social Media Club. And then Women Communication met with Alex DC, who was the co-founder of Social Media Club South Florida, and we did an event together. I think that was in 2008, talking about social media. So now they're coming and talking about Web3 and all the different aspects of it. So they asked, if Emily and I would want to speak, or if anyone in our group would like to speak about what we're doing. So we're going to talk about that. And Tuesday the 15th will be the educational aspect of having Chris and Christy Wells on together, and also their panelists. If anyone's going to be joining us, we'll get an opportunity to find out more information about their event that's coming up. And yeah, that's our events for the upcoming week. Emily, anything new for you that you're doing?
So nothing too much that's new. I mean, we're working on a lot of events for clients that are upcoming. So we still have we have the Miami Boat Show that's coming up in about a week now, week and a half. So we have some yachts that'll be in that show. And the Jewish Women's Foundation of the Greater Palm Beaches has their huge annual fundraising event, the Investing in Women Luncheon, which is all about empowering women and girls all throughout both Palm Beach and the United States and globally overall. And that event takes place on March 9th. So we're putting that together with celebrity chef Michelle Bernstein as our keynote speaker. And beyond that, just doing lots and lots of pitching over the next couple of weeks for all of our clients, because we have so much. We're coming into season. So we're starting with all of our events and all of our major client pieces. So we're starting to get pretty busy on this end, which is exciting, and starting to have real life in-person events, which is awesome too. Hybrid events, virtual components for all of them, but getting to see people in real life as well, which has been great. And how about you?
What am I not doing? I got into NFT music, so I'm gonna kind of mess with NFT music concert more. Just empowering the musicians, and also onboarding a lot of musicians into the NFT, creating content for themselves, and how to get on the blockchain and understand what NFT is. And so we're gonna be also uploading our spaces into the blockchain, so that we can have that as our podcast. So we are going to have it on Anchor, but we're going to upload it into the blockchain, because I feel like that's where at least we can learn a bit more, and then bring a lot of the members on there, because I feel like Web3 is where women can really dominate because of all the different things that are happening. And so if we can bring our association and our friends and all the women around us, and men too, and understand what Web3 is about, I think that's the key. So yeah, that's it. I'm just focusing on getting people understanding what Web3, getting into that. I have my church that I'm involved in that has 2.5 acres of land. So Terry and I are working on something like that to do a green market. Just really, the green market is for the community, for the farmers around there, if they want to do, we're not charging anything really. We just it's free for it's really a way to get the community together. It's 2.5 acres of land. So There's plenty of room for everybody to run around. Then I'll be doing food trucks and all that good stuff. But Emily, if you need help promoting, if you want to do a space or something promoting your event on March 9th, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. I'll host it for you, and then you can be the co-host, or you guys can host it, and then I'll come in and be your co-host to run the analytics, just so you can show them what you've done.
Thank you. Yeah, let's definitely talk about that, because I think the CEO for JWF would be phenomenal to come in and host a space and talk about the event. And I am sure Chef Bernstein would love to come in as well. She's been doing some media interviews and things with us. So that would be very cool.
Yeah, we can do a space and really get a lot of people in. But like our Empowering Yourself Monday is very, small and very intimate, and it's nice because we're able to chat with each other and have that conversation. And today, I wanted to thank Debbie for being here. And Debbie, can you tell our listeners, because we're streaming right now on Twitch, YouTube, we're literally streaming everywhere. Can you tell listeners how to get a hold of you, and if they wanted to be a guest on your shows, how would they do that?
You can tweet me at bookpublish101, or go to lockerroomforgrowth.com, and at the bottom I have all my links to my social feeds as well, where you can reach me there. So lockerroomforgrowth.com.
Perfect. Thank you. And Emily, how do we get a hold of you?
On everything, you can find me under Emily on the Avs, at Emily on the Av, or you can find me at Mugsy PR, mugsypr.com, MUGSYPR. Is my Twitter handle, Emily on the Av, on every other platform.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And everybody have a great day. And if you want to get a hold of us or want to be on any of our upcoming events, or because we're going to be sending out the Eventbrite invitation, you can email us at info@awcsouthflorida, spelled out, .org. So it's AWCSOUTH Florida FLORIDA.org. And that's also our website, and awcsouthflorida.org. And follow us on any social network is at AWCSF. And again, a little short note, our national chapter has been around since 1909, and we are thrilled to be part of this incredible organization with a long heritage of women, empowering women. When I talk about women empowerment, I just feel like we're the first one. So again, if you get a chance, follow them. It's at AWC Connects. It's their Twitter handle, and WOMCOM, WOMCOM.org is the website. And again, everyone, have a fantastic Monday. Hope this motivates you and empower yourself. And Debbie, I really appreciate you for being here and sharing your stories. And you're incredible. We're gonna touch base. We gotta get on the phone again.
Too. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, have a great day. I appreciate you, and thank you for all your support, everybody. Bye.